I was planning to make a Record of Ragnarok prediction video this month before the new chapter came out, but before I could do that, we got some very exciting news. Let me go over it, but first make sure to subscribe, leave a like. Now, let's begin. So apparently we're getting another double chapter this month, which is very hype. A color page perhaps, and potentially some reveals of other gods and humans we haven't yet seen. Apart from all that, confirmation for the second season being in production, and then the blurb saying the scariest god appears in round 7. This is the translation I got for this, so scariest god, who could that be? Let me pull up the gods fighting list. So Loki, scariest god, most likely not. Apollo, scariest god, most likely not. Susanoo, potentially, but I don't think so. Anubis, very possible. Odin, very possible. And Beelzebub, very possible. So scariest god definitely refers to one of these three. Now let's go over some possible matchups for these three gods. But first, if you consider the ending of the anime, I talked about this in a previous video, how each one of these like certain sections you have on screen here represent a human fighter or a god in the order that they've fought so far. And they may be, revealing to us the fight order. So going off the next one, the one that we have here most likely represents Buddha and Zero's fight. The next one after that is this. I personally think this represents Nostradamus. So maybe Nostradamus is fighting this per se scariest god. But if I'm being honest, I don't think they, revealed the fight order in the anime ED. I don't even think the animators are aware of the fight order. But yeah, let's go over some predictions. So Beelzebub got a lot of interesting reveals in the most recent fight, being the pretty much mastermind behind Hajun being inside of Zero, and a lot of the other gods being wary of him, and when something nefarious like that is going on, they most likely think of Beelzebub as pretty much the representation of the devil or Satan in Record of Ragnarok. At least when you look at our world, religions and mythology, you can kind of make that connection. I talk more about this in my Beelzebub video, going into detail about his religion connection and mythology connection, everything like that. But who would he fight? Nostradamus is a possibility to potentially keep the anime ending, theory going. If you look at the other theory, the wheel theory, Okita Tsuji is next to fight for humanity, and like Beelzebub, he has been revealed prior to his actual fight, so those two fighting could be a possibility. And Okita Tsuji has appeared quite a while ago now, I believe middle of the Shiva and Raiden fight he first appeared, so him fighting would make a lot of sense. I do think Beelzebub's most likely matchup based on his personality is Tesla, considering both of them having this mad scientist vibe, very tactical rather than raw power. So them two would be an interesting match, and I think a lot of people would like to see that. But for some reason, I do think Nikola Tesla would be a later fighter. Rasputin, a possibility, but of course, I don't think so. King Leonidas, nah. Qin Shi Huang, again, I do see that. They seem to have similar builds, so that could be pretty interesting. But Gintoki is the fight I do see being the most likely personally. But apart from that, let's talk a little bit about Anubis. So of course, the perfect matchup for Anubis is Rasputin. If that fight comes out, I'll be beyond hyped, as Rasputin is my personal most anticipated fighter. Anubis hasn't been revealed in the story yet, so his reveal will be pretty hype. The scariest god does fairly well connect to the likes of Anubis. We haven't heard anything about him, so yeah, Anubis vs Rasputin. I'm praying for that to come sooner rather than later, and if that is the next fight, of course I'm rooting for Rasputin to bring humanity in the lead, which would be pretty shocking. And not a lot of people would expect humanity to take the lead until the ending portion of the tournament. So yeah, that could be a pretty decent twist. Apart from that, if you consider scariest, it might be fear other gods feel from this one god. So Odin is potentially a possibility as pretty much the other final boss vibe-like god next to Zeus, as Zeus already had his fight. But having the two final boss-like gods fight in the first half may not be the case, and I personally don't think so, as my prediction goes along the line of Odin fighting King Leonidas, with King Leonidas using 2 Valkyrie volumes in his shield and spear to fight against Odin. That's my prediction for that, and I don't think this will happen until the end. So no Odin. But while recording today's video, I thought of something else. As we know, Hades has been revealed in the story, and due to Buddha's betrayal and everything like that, they've kind of messed up the bracket and how the tournament is set up. So maybe Hades will be added to the god side and he could potentially fight. But the leak does say the scariest god appears around 7. Not revealed, so maybe just appears. Hades being the leader of the underworld, scariest god, it makes a pretty solid connection. So maybe Hades will be the fighter next and he could be pissed off potentially or something like that. But who would Hades fight? My guess would probably be Qin Shi Huang as my first guess. Potentially Nostradamus, but definitely between those two. Before this reveal came out, my prediction was going to be based around Okita Tsuji fighting Loki, and that's what I was going to go for. But it seems like we're not going to be getting that next round, hopefully in the future, as I do see that as a pretty likely matchup. But if I had to place my bet as who's fighting, I think it's going to be Anubis versus Rasputin. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm going to guess. Beelzebub, even though he did get revealed in the most recent chapters and has a lot of hype going into him now, I don't think his time is right now, and he's kind of still scheming quite a bit. Odin as well, it doesn't really make too much sense for him to fight apart from him being extremely pissed off about Buddha's betrayal, as he was when he, started talking and made everyone else shut up, so maybe it could be him. Hades again is a possibility, but more so unlikely based on the wording. So Anubis, the god of the dead, versus Rasputin, the man who would not die. The perfect matchup, humanity to take the lead with Rasputin's greatness, and pretty much this has created so much hype within myself, my voice is starting to disappear. So yeah, that should be everything for today's video. Make sure to join the Discord if you want to talk more about Record of Ragnarok greatness. The chapter links will be posted as well, including the raws and leaks whenever they drop, I believe the 25th or 26th. Again, a reminder, it's going to be a double chapter, so hype yet again, potential color pages, and potential other gods being revealed in the audience. That's going to be absolute greatness. Of course, also follow the Twitter for more greatness, trying to get it to 1,000 followers. So if you want to be a Mad Lad, make sure to follow the Twitter, linked in the description. And as always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. These absolute Mad Lads. Hope you enjoyed, but yep, that's it guys. Peace.